Let's go ahead and start this thing. Put the belt away, please. Hello, everybody. It is episode 2 of the Cove Recovery Solutions podcast. There was a lot of weird stuff going on just now. So before we start on the normal things, I guess, chill the fuck out.
Hey, you guys pull your hats up a little bit because I can't see you.
I don't want people to see my face.
Me either. I like hiding
to see your face.
How does that look?
That's better.
Is
you guys
mine
are
better?
So cute. Yeah, you're so cute.
No.
Now you look weird. Now.
Fuck all right. It immediately attacks my insecurities about my face. Not to mention that my tooth broke before this.
His tooth broke, y'all.
This is not a real tooth. I sell real quick.
Ew.
Oh,
I hate it.
uh-huh.
How did that happen?
I got punched in the mouth one time, a long time ago. I was like 16 years old. I was dating a cheerleader from a different town and like rural communities, football towns, and we just didn't get along very well from town to town. And they didn't like that I was dating a cheerleader from their town. And they
Is it because you're brown?
No, the guy that did this to me was Oswell Brown. Oswell Brown, also brown. Also, I'm in college.
He's flustered.
I'm in college. There was a few of them.
Words are hard.
There was a few of them. All of them were as well Mexican. Why do I keep fucking saying it that way? Also Mexican, and she was white, which I think that's maybe the problem is they wanted to keep their white women theirs, right? Whatever. Anyways, I was sitting in my pickup outside this football stadium. We had a bye week. I was sitting outside my pickup in the.
Is that where everybody's bisexual for a week?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
That's every other week.
Wait a minute. Yeah, Whoa. Just fucking out me like that. I think I'm straight. I don't know. Anyways. Well, that's
cool,
for another time.
Hey, man.
So I'm sitting outside the stadium in my pickup, and I was like 16 or 17 years old. I think I was a junior maybe. And I had just dropped her off to go warm up for the football game. I guess cheerleaders do whatever they do. And I was just sitting there waiting for my buddies to show up because we had a bye week. So all the rest of my team was going to show up. I had gone there earlier in the day to hang out with her and her parents, blah, blah, blah. And then my windows were down, and I just hear somebody like slap the side of my pickup, and I thought it was my friend. So I turn around, and then it just immediately just get hit in the fucking mouth, get hit across the head, big old cut across my head. It knocked that tooth out, busted my lips up pretty good. There was one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. When I laid over the passenger side, it was, getting from both sides or whatever. I woke up outside of the truck with like spitting blood into my hand because I felt there was something floating around in my mouth, and I had just gotten my tongue pierced. And so I was like, oh no, they ripped up my tongue piercing. And then I spit it out, and it was not my tongue piercing. It was the entirety of my front tooth. Like the root and all, like it came all the way out of my head, and it was in my hand, and I don't know where it is now. I don't know what happened to it, but a couple of my buddies showed up.
What if you just pulled out a necklace with it on it? You're like, actually, here it is.
And here it is. I really wished I could actually, because it's big. Those things are huge.
Yeah, the root's long.
Like the tooth is only like a third of it. The rest of it's just like a big old shark tooth. So now I don't have one. It's this retainer thing that I've had in my head for like 12 years. I was eating a salad before we started. You were on your way here. I was eating a salad of all things to be eating, and it broke. It's not even a year old. I had to get a new one last year because I broke the one that was in my head for like 11 years. This one broke less than a year. I'm very upset. Poor craftsmanship by Abbeville Dentistry in Lubbock, Texas. Very upset. They're not cheap. But anyways,
I've heard it's like really cheap and easy and like pretty decent quality to go to Mexico for your teeth.
Yeah, it is, but I don't think I can go to Mexico. Do you have to have a passport? Don't you now?
Yeah. It's another country.
I don't have a passport.
Get you one. Go handle your business, dude.
I would go, but state of Texas says that I'm not allowed to leave the country for a while.
I don't think I'm allowed to yet either for a little while. I don't know how that works.
Well, I can't.
Mr. Privileged over there. Never went to jail.
So I guess we should address the fuck up that happened last week.
Oh, I was going to leave it alone, but here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because this is the second one, and this is just for us, really to say this. But so we recorded a whole podcast last week.
Hour and a half.
Me recording these two guys and two guests. And I somehow fucked up with this new software, and the audio didn't record alongside the video. And so it's forever in our memory, gone but never forgotten.
There's video of everybody, and we can like. We
just
need to get
overdub it.
Dub it over, and just have a bunch of stupid and. But I want only one person to do all the voices, all 5 voices. Only one person.
I'll pay somebody $20 to do that.
To do all of the voices, but none of them have to be accurate at all. Actually, I want a female to do his voice. A very, very small female.
I'm gonna be nice.
No, don't wait. What does that mean?
It means he's gonna be nice.
He doesn't want to insult me in front of everybody.
Yeah.
But believe me, he insults me regularly when nobody else is watching.
Let's talk about that.
I got him on camera the other day. So we were standing in the office, and there's cameras that for whatever reason there's a camera pointing in our office, and Christy, one of our coworkers, is always taking my side because I'm the angel of the two.
It's bullshit.
And so she knows that I'm the wonder child, right? When it comes to the two of us. And so he's picking on me, and he's way bigger than me. It's not fair. I'm 5'9", and he's what? 7'8",
6'3", 70 foot.
fucking monster.
Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
over
exactly.
Here.
And it's ridiculous because I'm a very small man compared to him, and compared to
I'm just a wee lad.
And so Christy, I was like yelling and screaming and she comes around the corner, and she's like 4'11", curly little black hair, curly black hair, very small woman, and she comes around the corner and starts yelling at him to get off of me, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't do anything. He's like trying to play it off as it like we're like 2 boys that just got in trouble with their mom, right? And we're grown men. You're 29, you're like 36, and I'm 27, and she comes around the corner yelling and screaming for him to leave me alone. I said, "Yeah, get him." And then he tries to bullshit her and saying that he didn't do anything. And what he doesn't know is that I know how to work the cameras and he does not. So I climbed my little happy ass up on top of the desk, rolled the cameras back, and sure enough, there he was beating me up on film. And she got upset with him. So.
Well, the thing is, the listeners got to know that you fucking deserve it.
I don't see that.
You
I don't
abuse me verbally.
Go ahead.
You're
Sexually.
Oh yeah! No.
I do that. That's me.
There's bloopers that you just recorded about him asking to do some really disgusting things to me. Yeah. It's on film and on video, so not fair.
I know of no film.
Oh, the film is right there. I can see it. Look at that one right there. I can see it looking at you.
No.
Yeah. The sexual harassment is real, folks.
Well, Marcus deserves it. We all know. The people that know our relationship know that he deserves it.
And know that I'm an angel.
Oh, good God.
I said something. So I was in an English class today. I got one class that I go in person. And I go for 50 minutes a week. I take 16 hours worth of courses, and only 50 minutes of them are in person. So I have to go to campus for 50 minutes. Anyways, we're in class, and it's a discussion class. So that's why it's so short. And he's always asked these silly questions when he does roll, because there's like 6 of us in there. It's ridiculous. But he asks these questions like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what have you been watching on Netflix lately?" And today was, "Where would you go if you went on vacation?" And he had mentioned like something about going out of the country, and he's like, "Oh, and I've got a passport, and I've never used it." And I said, "I can't get one of those." And he just kind of looked at me like this. Mind you, I'm the only fucking adult in there. They're all like 17, 18 years old. And he kind of looked at me sideways, and I said, I just said, "I'm a criminal." And everybody looked at me like, "What the fuck?" And I just kind of laughed. I was like, I can't get one right now. It's not an option for me. Like, not the right thing to say in that environment. Anyway, I don't know where the fuck I was going with that, but
just to
something about sexual harassment between the two of you. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Anyways, yeah, he's very, very hostile. I mean, very hostile.
I don't know.
I'm just a very loving guy.
I don't remember
know how to show
funny.
it.
Who, you?
Yeah.
So you want to do things to me?
Yeah, because you like those kinds of things. I hear your stories, so I'm just trying to.
Whoa!
Hey.
My stories. I have no stories. My mom's gonna watch this. Don't.
Sorry, Mom.
No, I don't think she'll watch. She'll probably quit after the first cuss word.
Ay, Dios mío. Sorry, that was a little racist.
No, it's okay.
It's very
just
racist.
Marcus.
Daniel is very Caucasian, and he said that. It wasn't me.
Hey, I'm a resident Mexican, bro. My birthday's on Cinco de Mayo. I love carnitas. You know,
Don't you work with mostly Hispanics
I've
too?
always mostly
There you
worked
go.
with Hispanic folks. My girlfriend's Hispanic. My sister-in-law's Hispanic. My niece.
Your girlfriend,
is
you're Hispanic by. Well, it's backwards.
I'm
I guess I was gonna say Mexican by injection, but
I'm Hispanic adjacent.
have you ever been to the Pronto Mart on the east side?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the place right there for some nice burritos. Speaking of sexual harassment, Parker, you.
You're gonna. Okay, I see what you're doing here. You're gonna. Okay, go ahead.
What are your plans for this weekend? Tell me about that.
Okay, yeah. Fuck you, Marcus. But yeah, I'm actually gonna propose to my girlfriend.
Woo.
So
I've tried to convince him that she's gonna say no. I think I'm finally getting in his head a little bit.
Oh, that's funny.
His fucking face.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was so confident until he just continued to
Like
just be,
as soon as he told me, I was like, she's gonna say no, bro. I think I said, what if she says no? And then of course he was like, she won't say no. I'm gonna move this one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, proposing Saturday up in the mountains. I don't think she has any idea. Mom and sister and everybody's played along pretty well. Her parents have kept it quiet. Marcus hadn't said a word.
I keep forgetting. It's not that I don't want to say anything. I don't care.
This is the friend Marcus that just doesn't give a shit. That's why I abuse
Did you
him.
go the traditional route of asking your dad if you could marry her?
Yeah. So I called him and I asked him. He lives down in Houston. So I called him and asked him if. Well, we just kind of started talking, and I was just like, hey, are you going to make it here anytime soon? If not, I'd like to drive down, spend the weekend with you, talk to you, and this and that. And the first thing, right after that, he was like,
No.
He was like, I know where this is going, and I'd be honored. He was like, I'm completely okay with us having this conversation right now on the phone. He was like, I appreciate you showing me this respect and wanting to come down and do it in person. He was like, neither one of us want to lie to Elise, and we'll have to lie to her for you to drive down to Houston for a weekend. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I don't want that to happen. He was like, I give you my blessing. He was like, I couldn't be more happy for her and for you. And so it was pretty cool. That made it real that it was going to happen. Picked out a ring, waited for it to get here. That made it more real. And then today, I set the date and planned it all out with my family. And then today I was talking to my sponsor, and he was like, are you starting to get nervous? And I hadn't been, but then
Until he asked.
and then I started thinking about like what I'm going to say. She has... It's pretty cool. She wrote out on a little piece of notebook paper one day of the kind of husband she wants. And she found it maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and she brought it home, and like she walked in, she was like, I want to read this to you. She started reading it to me and started crying while she was reading it, and she was like, it blows my mind that both of us had like our spiritual awakening like a month before we got together, and this is when I wrote this note. And she was like, you meet every single thing on this list. So she hid it in her drawer. I don't know why she was trying to hide it, but I found it one day and I took a picture of it. So Saturday, when I proposed to her, I'm going to kind of have something recited to where I kind of hit on each one of those things on her list. And be like, I hope I'm this for you, or I hope I can offer this to you. So it'll be cool. Extremely fucking nervous now. It's only what?
What day are you doing it?
Saturday.
The 20 what?
4th.
So you got 4 days
Yeah.
from today. Which I'm sure this
0
won't come.
plus 4 equals 24.
Well, I don't fucking know what day. Saturday. It's Tuesday. Don't ask me to do days and then numbers. Just give me a number. I know it's the 20th. But hopefully this will be.
Students.
I'm in college. The entire time you were saying that, I was completely like zoned out. I hope you can see my face in that. It was just
the absolute, just
No, I had
give
the
zero
camera on
fucks about
it's not.
me.
I give
Elise.
lots of fucks about you and Elise. I just zone out whenever it gets mushy, and it's because I'm scared of commitment.
He zones out because it's not his turn to talk.
That's about right.
This man's about to have the American dream. He's already got one dog. Because that dog kind of sucks, though, right? That dog a little bit sucks. Charlie sucks a little bit.
So he doesn't suck.
Okay, 3 months ago he would have said, "Yeah, I fucking hate you."
Yeah, 3 months ago, but the little guy's
The little guy.
grown on me. He's actually turning into a dog.
What was he before?
Fucking sewer rat.
He was a scared pile of bones. He would. I still don't think he'll.
I still stutter with my messed up tooth.
I still don't think the dog would come within a few feet of me. But how long did it take for him to come close to you?
A long time.
How long did it take Elise to come close to you?
9 months. Elise. About 25 minutes.
Oh God. Yeah, wait until her dad hears that. He's gonna retract that one quickly.
Sorry, John. Yeah, Charlie. He's just. So I guess he was raised on a farm and he was beaten as a puppy. So he's like afraid of men.
Same.
So he's afraid of men. So still, even today, like if I come in quick or come in like walking into the house real fast, he'll get scared and run away. But he's still afraid of most men when they walk in. It takes him a while for him to walk up to them, and but he's just a little pansy.
Yeah, but you're about to have. So I was getting at is you're about to be living the American dream. 2 white folks, 2 dogs, married in the mountains. Sorry. But really, you're getting a new dog. You're about to get engaged. You live with her. Like, who are you? I'm about to lose my mic.
You're just in absolute disbelief.
Yeah, a little bit. This is gonna be real noisy. I think. Hold on. I think I got it. No, I got it.
It looks like that fucker's about to come
It's
off.
about to come off, but I catch it. It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So another dog, and this one's like a typical American dog, not some mutt that's scared of everything. Correct.
Correct.
Have you named the dog yet?
No, it came down to 2 names:
I hate both of them.
Kane or Kai. Kai from
Cobra
that
Kai?
YouTube video. Smash, smash,
Oh,
smash.
yeah, the hatchet guy.
The hatchet.
Yeah. The hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Where's-
telling Elise because it's a red fox lab. So I'm telling her it's Kai for like short for cayenne pepper, who's red. But in reality, it's from all.
She has
from
absolutely
YouTube.
no idea why the dog's gonna be named that until
No.
later, until afterwards, until she commits to it. Same thing with the marriage. She has absolutely no idea what to expect.
Yeah. We were thinking Dewey and Baxter,
I like
both
Dewey.
from Dewey Cox,
Yeah.
and then Baxter from Anchorman, the dog. She shot both of those down. So,
I thought she meant she shot both dogs.
good God, y'all are dark today.
It has been a weird day. But I mean, okay, in all reality, I'm very happy for you. She's about to take everything away from me, but but I am happy that you're going to get engaged. I don't really care about the dog, but I'm happy that you're going to get engaged. Like, I look forward to that a little bit, I think, sometimes. I don't know how I feel about getting engaged myself, but I do like the fact that you guys actually love each other. It's kind of weird. I don't know how
Does it give you hope?
Yeah, because I'm much better than you. So.
Jesus Christ.
I remember the day you walked in from treatment, you piece of shit. And he's getting engaged. What the fuck?
Wait a minute. What the fuck? How did you do this before me?
What do you mean?
I've dated many more women than you have.
Because I do it
That's
right.
probably your problem, dude. Same here.
Yeah, but you're in a committed relationship too.
For now, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
When are you gonna
Just
get it? When are you gonna ask her to get married?
I'm actually thinking about. I'm
Well,
waiting.
be
on
careful.
Huh?
Be careful. Don't out yourself.
Well, I mean, by the time this comes out, it'll already be. But her friend's supposed to be doing some reconnaissance for me I'm gonna get a promise ring. I'm not ready to do the whole engagement thing yet,
Yeah.
but I'm committed and I'm gonna
Promise
do that.
it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've got one picked out. I'm just waiting for her friend, her
Yeah.
best friend, to get a ring size for me. So. But,
I promised my dog that I'd feed her 2 days ago. I haven't followed through with that yet, so I'm going to hold off on
That's
the.
why whenever Hattie comes over to the house, she just eats all of Charlie's food.
She just ran out of
She's like,
food
"Oh my
the day
God."
before yesterday, so he's just yesterday. And I gave her lots of crackers and a chicken breast. So
bro, when I was in my addiction, my dog ate so well because my ass could not afford dog food, so I just split my food with her. Dude. I'd be like, hey, dude, we're gonna eat once today, but you're getting canes.
yeah, you're getting half of it, bro. Yeah, Hattie used to eat donuts and all sorts of burritos. Basically everything that she's not supposed to eat, she ate plenty of it. Now she's like, probably pretty upset. It was funny. This got brought up last night. Now that we're on the dog thing, I was sitting on the couch with the person I'm seeing currently.
Oh.
I hope this one. Hopefully this
Her
one works
name
out.
is.
No. Hopefully this one works out in all reality. But we were sitting there, and the dog was just like looking at us. Right, we were just hanging out. We didn't even do anything. And she goes, "What are all the things that she's seeing?" And I looked at that. I looked at that dog, and I thought I immediately felt bad for her because I've had her for 5 years. And so I've only been clean for like 3.5. So like a year and a half, almost 2 years before I got clean, she was with me every day, all day and night, and basically went through everything. That poor dog lived on the back of my pickup and didn't actually have a home for like a year and a half. Like she just went everywhere with me, and she was always in the truck. Or she literally had like a place on the back of it. And I was looking in her eyes, just like deep in her eyes, and I was like, the things that she has on me are incredible. If she could talk, I would be over with. That would be it for me, because she's seen some stuff. And what this girl was getting at was like recently, you know what I mean? Like over the last year or whatever. Like how many things has this dog seen me do? And I feel really bad for my dog now. But have you ever thought about that?
Moral
Like,
of the story,
what-
Marcus is dirty.
I'm not.
I mean, my dog, I got her when I first moved here. She's getting pretty old. I mean, I got her in 2012. So that
Ooh,
makes
and your
her-
dog lives with your dad.
Yeah,
so.
she's with my dad now. So she's his dog now, but it's just because
What
I'm so
is
busy.
what
I
is
miss the shit out
she
of her.
seen?
Oh, she's seen it all, dude. I mean, I sold drugs for a long time, and I would take her with me everywhere, bro. And she's not like, vicious or like gonna do anything to protect me, but she's a little 35-pound pit bull. But I mean, she's seen a lot of shit, man. And like, I can think of 3 different occasions where 2 like kind of gangster type dudes. 3 different occasions where 3 different gangster type dudes offered me cash for her. Like, I'll give you $500 for her right now. I think just because she was a blue pit,
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, dude, yeah, that dog was with me. Like, I remember I was like staying in this trailer on the west side of town, like, and one of my roommates was doing heroin, got kicked out, and then we kicked him out because he stopped paying rent, and then we got kicked out. We got evicted. I left one day to go sell some shit to somebody, and I came back and they had cleaned all our shit out, so all my shit was thrown away, and all I had was a fucking mattress on the floor, and I just remember like crying, like I think I was dope sick or just close to my rock bottom. I just remember crying. All I had was me and fucking lady, dude. She was just like there with me, So she's seen some shit, like, and she has it good now with my dad, She
Yeah.
fucking is spoiled to shit, but yeah, she's seen some shit, But
Charlie's seen some things, hasn't he?
No.
so, fuck.
Okay. He sees Elise beating the shit out of him just regularly. That's why
we censor him.
Yeah.
you censor the dog.
Yeah.
You lock him up,
In the
And then you
closet
get
in the
locked
guest
up.
room.
and then you get locked up.
So you're gonna propose, dude. That's major.
Yeah.
And it's pretty quick, I don't not to pass judgment.
Yeah, how long have
No.
you guys been together? A year?
A year. Damn.
Like pretty soon, right?
I mean, that's pretty good though. Except
I mean,
First
dude,
date was
I think y'all are fucking great. I think y'all make a great couple. And if it were other people, I might have questions. But with y'all, I don't feel any weird vibe about that. When you know, I'm like,
right.
this,
And that's I've had a lot of people ask me that, and I think, or talk to me about this, and I think what it is like, I know what I want in life. Like, my goals are set. I I just know. And she's in that exact same spot. And when we met, it felt right from the beginning. I'm going to throw her under the bus. She told me she loved me on our second date. Shout out Elise.
That's sweet.
But it's just felt right. You know what I'm saying? Like she's exactly who I looked for the longest time. And then finally, when I got to like my breaking point with relationship and this and that, I let go and was like, God, I can't do this. I'm not going to find this on my own. And a month later, she popped up on Facebook. So I thought she was somebody different for like 9 months.
I remember this.
I went out to the treatment center to do a guy's fist up. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for so-and-so. And Elise came up to me. She was like, oh, I'll show you where he is. He's my client. So she takes me to him. And then we get in the group room where we're going to do his fist step. And I looked at him. I was like, I'm going to holler at her one day. And he was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, she's way too pretty for you.
Way, right? I'll kick this coverage like a son
I'm
of a
so
bitch.
okay with that, guys. But
Yeah, until she wakes up.
oh, jeez, she's gonna say no. Huh?
Oh, she's not gonna say no.
Fuck.
Of course not.
Yes.
So, but for some reason, I thought her name was Michelle, and there was a Michelle that worked out there.
Do you ever call her Michelle just to fuck with her?
No, hell no.
That would be hilarious. He calls her Big Dog. That's what he does.
I just asked her, "What's up, big dog?" She don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I called her dude earlier.
I just call my girlfriend bitch.
Whoa!
Kinda. I do say that shit kind of jokingly though, of course.
I don't think I've ever said that. What do I call her? I call her pal.
Parker would never do that.
Oh.
He just feels embarrassed.
She would. I don't know if she would either kill him or just fall apart. I don't know which one would happen first,
both.
but they would both happen. I don't know what order.
Yeah.
But y'all know me. I joke.
Yeah.
99% of what I say is a joke. So.
Yeah.
But so for about 9 months, I was asking Michi, I was asking Cass. It's like asking, hey, Michelle's still single. And Michelle is single. Is Michelle single? No, she's got a boyfriend. She's got a boyfriend.
Michelle's like 50.
No.
They're all, why are you asking about Michelle, dude?
So then I'm on Facebook one night and I'm scrolling through and I see like suggested friend and I saw her picture and I was like, hold the fuck up.
And then
Her
Hold
name's,
up. Wait a minute.
it's like her name's Elise. So I texted Cassidy real quick and I was like, yo, I've been asking about the wrong chick for 9 months. And then she was like, yeah, she's single. She recently went through a breakup like 4 or 5 months ago.
Perfect.
Give her a shout. And so I slid in her DMs that next morning.
I remember giving a lot of shit about that too.
Why?
I don't
You do
know.
it daily.
No, I don't.
Oh.
What? Bro, you literally
Never.
you went to the bank 2 weeks ago and then you immediately went and added the hot banking teller.
I forgot about that. It was not. It was longer. Okay, let me clarify. It was longer than 2 weeks ago. Because you're gonna get me in trouble if you say it was 2 weeks ago.
We can bleep out the 2 weeks.
Oh, shit.
That was like over a month ago. I forgot about that.
Hey, as long as we put this out like a month from now,
I mean, she
nobody
was-
will know. Oh wait, that'd be even worse.
It'd be way worse. To be fair, she was very beautiful and intimidating, and I couldn't help myself. But she accepted it within like 30 seconds. So, you know, we're all right.
Well,
Very boring conversation.
so, what, mine?
No, the
Oh,
one that I had with the
asshole.
bank girl.
So,
It was like the
I
pixie
asked-
cut gets me, man. I don't know
It
why.
does.
I don't know. It's weird. It's very recent development in my attraction, but it's gone now. It's gone. I've worked that out of my system. Go on with your love story.
You just look at his Pornhub history. It's pixie cut, shaved head.
No, they're horrible. I've looked at those. It's horrible, horrible category. Low quality.
So I asked her out on a date. We went and got some appetizers, and then we went to Indigo's. show at the Garden. It was our first date, and and it was a great show. We had a lot of fun,
I
and
bet it was.
then I think we spent like 3 months straight together, just like almost every day.
I remember.
And then it was good. It's been good since. We got a house back in June together.
Have y'all had any big fights?
Yeah.
He's horrible to her every day.
Shut the fuck. No, I'm not.
There's times where I'm like, I tell him I am not the most best guy. That's really horrible grammar. But
Words are hard.
words are fucking hard. I'll be on the phone and he'll like just say something to her real mean. I'm like, you gotta not do that, dude.
She knows I'm kidding. It's nothing like crazy.
She knows I'm kidding. You better fucking.
No.
I'm very disturbed sometimes by that, but it is cool that she trusts you to talk to her like that.
Because it's never, like I said, it's never serious. It's never like, I'm not abusive to my girlfriend. Golly. Jeez.
Only the dog. Take it out on the dog.
No, that would be worse
So
for her.
I got told I love you on the second date, like not too long ago, a couple months ago. But then the third date, she told me I was full of microaggressions and character defects. So the microaggressions is what got me. I know that I have lots of character defects, but the microaggressions, that one was like, oh, that's new.
I feel like I have a bunch of microaggressions, and I like, if you know me, like I'm the most inclusive person ever. I love everybody. I don't have any hate in my heart towards any kind of person, even people who are like opposite end of the political spectrum of me. But I do think that I like, especially because I joke so much. Like I know that sometimes I probably joke, and it could be a microaggression.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, I have a very dark sense of humor. We tone it down for this. So I have a very dark sense of humor, and I don't know if it was that or if like, okay, so we went to the Nike store, the Nike outlet, and wait a minute. I didn't forget my mask. She forgot her mask. So I gave her mine. And we walk in, and I don't like conflict at all. So we walk in, and the guy's like, hey, do you have a mask? And I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry, I don't. And then he started to say something else. And I knew that it was about to like be a little bit like tense. So I said, oh, I can't do that. Like, like by saying like, hey, let's not do this. You know what I mean? I just try to stop it. Whatever, I'll get one, but let's not have this conversation right now, because I didn't want to have the conflict with the guy. And she looked at me and she goes, why did you say that? And I was like, because you have my mask on. That's why. And I don't have one. And I don't want to have conflict with this man in this Nike outlet.
So he just like probably assumed that you were like an anti-masker.
No, I mean, because like if you really, and I struggle that was when I first started wearing one. I did have a lot of anxiety about it. So it wasn't like me like really manipulating it. It was like, I really don't want to, first of all, this is a tense situation. I don't want to have this conversation with you. Second of all, now I'm anxious about being in here around all these other people. I've just met her. If I put something on my face, I'm going to have a little bit of an anxiety attack. You know what I mean? So there was some validity to it. It wasn't completely like I would have lived if I would have put a mask on. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but I just didn't want to have the conflict. I didn't want to risk an anxiety attack, blah, 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 blah. We were going to be in there and out real quick. It wasn't like we were going to be walking all over the store and like I was going to be spitting in people's mouths regularly. You know what I mean? Like I needed a few minutes to like not have that conflict with him. And that's where she said that I have a microaggression. That was one of them. That was one of the examples she gave me. And I was like, okay, well, there's a lot more to that than what's going on there. But
I feel like microaggressions too is such a broad term. Like, I don't know. I know that like a common one is like racial stuff, and it's not necessarily like the first example I can think of is like, say I have like talking to a black friend. I'm like, and they're like, yeah, dude, I really like Tyler Childers, and I'm like, you like country? Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I think that would kind of be a microaggression, like assuming that because a person's black, they couldn't like country music. You know, which is kind of like a stereotype, I guess, which is, I mean, would y'all say that that's probably a fair definition of a microaggression?
I guess. I had to look it up.
Just
I had to look it up.
Ignorant.
Yeah. I think, and see, what we looked up last night, actually, about microaggressions was that it was much more, intense than that, much more violent
Yeah.
than that. Like almost like inciting hate speech. You know what I mean? Or like a hate speech type of thing where it incites something. And it's like I've never once felt that way about anybody. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it was, at least for this person, was that she just needed something to throw at me that was going to like shock me, and it did. It did. It takes a lot to shock me, and I think she knew that. And so whenever she said something about microaggressions, it was like, well, that's something I've never heard before, so let's throw this at him. And it did. Fucked with me a little bit.
I remember like and for anybody who's a college student or been through college in the recent, I don't know, 5-10 years, diversity classes,
Yeah.
all of us have to go through it. And it's the premise is great, and I'm all about diversity and inclusion and everything. But like I remember, and I'm really not trying to like get political or anything. I really don't have a strong opinion on it. But I remember one thing, we were talking about microaggressions, and one example was like asking somebody who may be like racially ambiguous, like asking like, where are you from? Like that could be considered a microaggression because you're assuming that they're not from America. And like, I get it. And like me as a cisgender white male from America, like I can't understand how that would offend somebody. But like, it's also so weird for me to think like, if somebody asks me that, it doesn't mean anything to me other than like, yeah, I'm from Texas. You know what I mean?
Devil. You are the devil, cisgendered white males. It's
Yeah.
you guys.
Right.
No, I get that. But when you were saying that, it was like, that is just such a common thing. Like there's some people, I think, where it comes from like a place of ignorance, where it's just like, oh, where are you from? You know what I mean? Like, but for other people, and even if it is out of a place of ignorance, it's not meant to be hostile, violent, or oppressive or anything. That's like some people are just really bad conversationalists. You know what I mean? And they see a different color skin and they're like, what do I see about you? You're tall, you got black hair, you got brown skin, you have brown eyes. Which one do I say first? You know what I mean? Like, because whenever you run into somebody new and you don't know anything about them, there's no context the way you met. All you have to work with is what you can see, right? And now all of a sudden, it's gotten to the point now where we can't even address anything that we see on each other because of those things like that, because of that fear of offending somebody, right? And I get that. Like I don't like it when people comment about my race or my tattoos or whatever it may be. It's not necessarily the most comfortable thing, but I don't get upset about it because that's what they can see on me. You know what I mean? I think it's probably more appropriate if somebody says something, oh, you go to Texas Tech because of the hat or something stupid like that.
Right.
But some people are just very awkward. And I think a lot of times it comes from that. Sure, there's going to be people that are just mean, right? And like want to know, well, where are you from? You know what I mean? Like, well, I mean, I'm from Texas. I'm from Dumas, Texas. I don't know. What beyond that, I don't know, And a lot of people don't. So that's kind of one of those questions. It's like, yeah, it is. I guess it can be considered a microaggression, but it all comes back down to the intent, right?
Right.
Like, what are you intending by that question?
Yeah. I don't know. It's dicey too, because like, I mean, when we start policing speech, like that's where it kind of gets a little weird, like telling people what they can and can't say. I mean, like that's what fascism does. That's like what, if you look at like if you were in Nazi Germany, I'm sure that it was not allowed to question what was going on. Like you had to go along with it. And I'm not saying that like that's the same thing, but it's a slippery slope, I think.
Okay, so I'm in this class right now. Of course, everybody takes this class, Holocaust and Literature. And the first one thing that they talk about is the mosquito bites, right? And what that is referring
like a girl
to.
with small titties?
I can't comment on that anymore.
Parker's giving me a mean ass look.
No, I did a brunch.
You need a soundboard.
Hey, I love them all.
Yes, all
whatever.
shapes and sizes. We do not discriminate in this house.
No.
I will not touch on that subject.
I'm about to get married. Well, I was going with this the mosquito bites, right? In Germany, and it was like my professor would be ecstatic if she heard this right now. It was something Klemperer. I can't remember his first name.
Probably turn it off after I said titties, but
You should turn it off after the first 5 seconds. But Victor Klemperer, I think Klemperer. I can't ever say that last name. but Vitor, I don't know. Anyways, he writes about it in this journal about the mosquito bites, which were like the very small things that were happening leading up to the Holocaust, right? You could no longer write in whatever language. You had to write in your native language, Hebrew or whatever, right?
Right.
I could be getting this totally wrong, but I know that what I understood it was like you could no longer write in German. Maybe you had to only write in Hebrew. You lost like privileges to like the library. They didn't want you advancing your education. They started segregating kids into different schools. Blah blah blah. It was all these really minor things that led up to the Holocaust. Now, of course, this is a totally extreme example, but I feel like that is part of the limit on our speech is one of those things, right? I think that's a very, very, very extreme, like I said, a very extreme example. I don't think we're about to be exposed to a genocide of any kind, but I do think it's the same form of control of just like, hey, you can't say this anymore. You can't say any of these things anymore. You can't say these words. We've taken all these things out of your vocabulary. And it's just a way to kind of minimalize who we are as a people, right? Minimalize everything about what we're doing instead of being able to actually be all inclusive of one another. Whereas we're cutting out too much to have inclusivity, I think. And maybe that's backwards thinking. I don't know.
I think it's bad on either side. I don't want, you know, I have a lot of Christian friends. I have a lot of beliefs that are very, you know, Christian in nature. Like I pray to a Christian God. I don't know if I necessarily identify as Christian, but if this were a dominantly ran Christian country and all of our laws came from the Bible, like I that would be bad too. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it should be either way. You know, like it's.
Well, and that's the purpose of division of state and church. I mean, because it was even decided way back when that it shouldn't be that way. That there should be civil liberties and laws for people and differentiated from the way people practice spiritually and religiously. It should be separated, right? And I don't know. I think that the church has kind of like started to dissolve, at least in my life. And let me reiterate. There were a bunch of fucking morons.
We're
getting into a lot of political heavy shit that's going on in the world. But I used to do drugs 3.5 years ago. So let's not.
I one time tried to inject Adderall, and it did not go well, and it made me sick as fuck. So don't listen to anything I have to say.
So our opinions.
I like that. I like that. It's kind of like what we talked about in the last podcast that didn't record. Do you ever get any ideas from your friends?
Yeah.
Go back out and try it.
Well, what he's saying is don't try it because it doesn't.
I know, but I don't listen.
What
to
else can I put in
Learn
there?
from others' mistakes.
What else can I put in there? So the reality is, we're a bunch of morons, but we do. I think it's everybody has a fucking opinion, right? I'm more of the opinion that if you take away all of these things and you start muddying everything up, you're going to dissolve what has already been built, right? You can't. How are you going to come together if you're starting to strip a bunch of shit away? Right, we've all have our own fucking prejudices and beliefs and stuff like that. But I got into a discussion with somebody today. It wasn't an argument, but it made me realize that I feel like, I hope so, and there was somebody else there sitting like a fly on the wall, and hopefully he can tell me a little bit better. But I felt like I was not trying to invalidate her argument. I was recognizing her argument, and I understood what she was saying, and I agreed with her, but I just believed that my argument was better. Whereas from the other side, it felt like maybe there was like just trying to invalidate who I am as a person and invalidate my argument. And it made me realize that a lot of this shit, this two-party system, all these disagreements that we have amongst each other is it's more about winner or loser. And there's too much of that. There's too much winning and there's too much losing and not enough compromise, not enough like, well, let me understand your side of things too. You know what I mean? And I don't know. That's one thing that's blown my mind about all of this stuff, whether it comes to hate speech, which party is better, all of it, right? Is why does there have to be a winner?
And I think that's, a big reason why I don't have conversations like that with people is because it's very rare that you're going to have somebody that's going to be open-minded enough to hear your side and agree to disagree. I feel like us three can have those conversations and agree to disagree with things, and we'll move on. And we're still gonna text each other TikToks tomorrow, and we're still gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but I think all three of us are like right down the middle. Like, I don't think there's
very
anything
much so.
that we hardly disagree on. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
There's really not probably much that we disagree on. But even if we did, I don't think it would be a problem. But
I don't think so either.
But I think it's because I don't want to win with you. I don't want to win. I don't really want
Right.
to win with anybody. I'm more interested in understanding everybody else's point of view because I'm so, I guess, confident about my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm confident about what I know and what I believe. So I'm willing to listen to everybody else's because I guess even as confident as I am in my own belief, it could get, I'm dumb as fuck. So it can get better. You know what I mean? Like it's,
I get what you're saying. When you were just saying that, it made me think of this. I know a lot of atheists that their like number one goal in life is to
shit on Christians.
Shit on Christians
Yeah.
and shit on the Bible, and they can give you so many examples of why they believe it's wrong and why it's obvious to them. And it's like, do you really think that way, or are there so many doubts in your mind that you are trying to prove to yourself constantly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm right down the middle on it. Like, I can listen to an atheist and I can listen to a Christian, and I can be like, that's cool. I can apply that to my own life. Like, and it doesn't. I don't have to try to like fight it and disprove it because like I don't have questions about so much either. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Right.
So what if there's an atheist and then there's a totally different thing and it's somebody that's just opposed to Christianity? I don't want to use the word antichrist because it's a little bit. Yeesh. You know what I mean? But like what if it's two different things?
It probably is. It probably is. Because
And
I feel like if you're comfortable in your own beliefs, it's not going to bother you like somebody who has opposite beliefs that much. You know what I'm saying? If you're confident, comfortable, you have peace about it in your soul, like you're not going to champion to go prove other people wrong.
Yeah.
And the same thing could be said about super religious people that feel like that they have to, tell everybody else that they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like the best Christians I know are the ones that love people, and they, instead of trying to tell them that they're wrong and tell them that they're going to hell or that they're sinners, they just love them where they're at, and instead of trying to convert them, they just, show them what God means to them by acting in love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, it's just roll that right into like a recovery sense of it's attraction, not attraction over promotion.
Yep.
Like you can't go up to a drug addict and say, hey, I don't think you need to be getting high anymore because of these reasons, X, Y, and Z. They're going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Like, dude, I like to get high. I don't want to hear what you have to say. It has to come from a place of like, this is what I believe, and I'm so happy and content with what I believe, because I get why people promote their beliefs and their political parties and all that stuff, because they want that to be reality, right? If you're Republican, you want everybody to vote Republican so that your dreams will come true, right? So I understand the promotion of that aspect of it, but if you're just so happy and content with the way that your life is and the way that you're living your life, other people are going to see that, and not, because as soon as somebody tries to convince me to do something, I'm like, I don't want to do anything to that. No thanks.
And none of us were ready until we were ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't, like, and I see guys come into recovery, or girls too, or just whoever, and they're 18, and I'm like, dude, that's so. And some people really are ready, and they go through enough trauma, and they get sober, and it sticks. Mm-hmm. But like, I was not fucking ready at 18. I was not ready at 19, 20, 24. I was ready at 25. You know what I mean? And,
Right.
It's like you were saying a while ago, like, trying to argue with somebody it never gets anywhere because they're never going to be open-minded enough to actually hear you. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever tried to talk to somebody who like believes in like an extreme conspiracy theory, like flat Earth or something, QAnon or anything. Like you and them live in two totally fucking different realities. And this can also be tied back to, I don't know if y'all watch The Social Dilemma.
No, I want to. I've heard about it.
You need to watch it. But it basically talks about how whatever your political beliefs are and whatever outrages you the most online that you engage with, that you get more of, and what I see, or what a liberal person sees and what a conservative person sees on their social media feed, is two totally fucking different worlds and two totally different sets of data and facts and truth and like just what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. Like that's why it's so polarized. Y'all really need to watch it. We could talk about it next episode. But.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Homework.
Have I got enough of that.
I do too. I take way too many fucking courses.
I don't know how we got off on that tangent. We
I
were
don't
talking
either.
about you getting married, and we fucking went off on a tangent.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
I'm glad we're talking about stuff like that because even though, like I said, even though we're a bunch of morons, we have opinions, we have outlooks on things, and I think that's a really good one to bring up. Is that like the way that I see the world? Like I don't see the world through your eyes, and I don't see the world through your eyes. I don't see the world through anybody else's eyes but my own, and I can't show somebody what I see. And so when it comes down to like the original topic is inclusivity and like and that type of stuff, I don't have to show somebody how I feel or who I am or what I see. I just have to respect that they have a different outlook than I do. You know what I mean?
Have y'all ever? I don't know if your counselors played the "This Is Water" speech by David Foster Wallace for you in treatment.
No.
But it's so fucking great, and it's really appropriate for early recovery and just recovery in general. But he does this like commencement speech and David Foster Wallace was a great author. He ended up killing himself like in 2008, but he was an amazing author and just really, really deep thinker. And in that speech, he basically talks about how, like what you were just saying, like how, we only know life through our own eyes and our own perspective. And so like the whole enigma of trying to like be a better person is like thinking about other people's perspectives and getting out of ourselves. And it's really appropriate for recovery too, because like that is part of our addiction, is that we are trapped in self. We are totally selfish, totally self-centered. We don't really know how to think outside of ourselves. And like also we are like isolated, and so we just are like in this illusion that we're totally alone, when the truth is there is no separation between us and other people and the universe, you know what I mean? And even if you just look at it at a scientific perspective, like, Einstein's theory of everything, like all of the universe is energy, it's all one thing, you know what I mean? And we haven't proved it yet, it's still a theory, but I think it's probably pretty safe to say that, the universe is one thing. So I don't know. It's like, that's like a whole enigma of being a person, is like getting outside of yourself, you know what I mean? And that's like, it happens in like psychedelics, and I know you guys didn't really fuck with psychedelics much, but like you experience this thing called ego death, where you like lose sense of yourself, and you like it stops being about me, and it starts being about like us and this, and like, and the same thing happens when we work with other addicts, like our shit just kind of dissolves away when we really like see that light in that other person's eyes, and we connect on that spiritual level. We have that spiritual experience,
And you're right. Like I don't know exactly the phenomenon of the ego death that you're speaking of, but I do know that I remember, like at my very rock bottom, there was something that died inside of me, and I don't know if it was necessarily the same thing. There's probably a different phenomenon, different sensation that's associated with that. But I remember everything that I ever was became nothing all of a sudden. When I was in that jail cell, like everything had just been stripped away from me, and I realized that I came to terms with that being who I was, and it was just like this horrible like dying sensation. And so I don't think it's the same thing, but every time somebody brings up ego death, that's what I think of, because at that point I no longer was the person that I had become. I was no longer had any kind of like worldly items. I didn't have any spiritual thing. I was completely abandoned, right? Both physically, spiritually, emotionally, everything. I was 100% for the first time in my life, 100% alone. And I felt like I had died. Like there was something that had gone away in me that I was never going to get back. But it was there where I was able to build on to that step one experience. I didn't realize that was happening in that moment, but the reality was something died. And I was able to say, this is gone. I've got to start something new, right? And so every time somebody brings up ego death, that's what I think of, and I wonder if it's similar to that.
Well, I know, just kind of going off of what you said, like I remember one of the like first few things that I said to Murray in my intake. It was that we were just talking about everything, and then I was like, he was like, "Are you ready for this? Is this, just kind of dug a little deeper with
Murray
me?"
a counselor?
No, he was the
admissions director there.
Yeah.
He's this big old friggin' gorilla looking meth head, and that man is incredible. He's smart, articulate, spiritual, and he will scare the fuck out of you because he's a monster.
So my dad. So I'll get back to our little thing, but that reminded me.
We could talk more about Murray, man. I like that guy.
My family brought me to treatment. My mom's crying, all this and that. My dad looks at me, shakes my hand, says, "Fix it." You know, from my dad, he's a West Texas dad, knew nothing about addiction, anything like that. And he shakes my hand, says, "Fix it," and walks out. And as soon as the door shuts, Murray goes, "Fuck that. That's not how this works." And I was like, damn, nobody stands up to David.
Yeah.
But whenever we were in there doing my intake, I remember, like, I said it, like, a few times, like, that day and another day. I was like, I'm a blank canvas. I was, like, truly, like, I'm nothing. I have nothing. I know nothing. And that is, like, that moment of, like, where I truly got to start over. And that was, like, everything, like you said, like, had died. Like, all that, who I was, any of that was nothing anymore.
I think those things are definitely related, you know. It's a place of great humility. Like, in the psychedelic sense, it's like my favorite thing to do when I was on psychedelics was just to stare at the stars, because it made me feel so small and insignificant that all my problems were so small in the vast expanse of the universe, and that, you know, whatever happens, I know that the universe will go on, life will go on, and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And I think the rock bottom, the step one experience of being totally broken down to where, you know, God leads us into a place where we're really ready to really serve him. Our will has fucking, self-reliance has failed. Our will has got us into this place where there is no fucking hope of return. And it's similar. I mean, they're the same thing, really. It's just two different ways of getting to that place, you know, where, like, you have to say, like, God, you know, do with me what you will, you know what I mean? And we realize, like, all of our needs and our wants, like, are very small in the sense that, like, you know, God is, you know, God, the universe, spirituality, all of that is the only way forward, you know?
I think both of our faces were like, like very, very in deep in thought.
Yeah.
Man, I remember laying in the grass one day, in treatment, and I had often thought about that when I was getting fucked up, about how I was so small and significant, right? Like you were saying. But there was a moment, it was late at night, it was on a weekend, so there was only like 2 RAs on shift, and they kind of like let us like do whatever we wanted, I think, for the most part, which is not that great. But I was laying in the grass at like midnight, 11 o'clock midnight or something, and there was a guy playing the guitar, and I remember looking up at the stars like that and just feeling like the wind blow over me and feeling so minor in that moment. Like I was the world just seemed so fucking big then. And I realized, like you said, how small I really was. And how, at that moment, I didn't have any problems then. I'd been in treatment for a couple of weeks, and, you know, I had pretty much been stripped away of everything, and I didn't have much of anything to be really worried about anymore. But in that moment, just feeling everything kind of dissolve, and all of a sudden, I was just I was a blade of grass. You know what I mean? In the world, and I think I've lost sight of that now a little bit, now that things have kind of gone to where they are. So it's a really good reminder. I'm glad you brought that up, because it really humbles me to know that, like, at one point I felt like a blade of grass laying there, and I felt like there was so many things going on around me that I was the most irrelevant of those things. And I really missed that. I think more than anything, I missed that that kind of connection to nothing. You know, I think we got lost in the flow of life, and then we end up in these positions where we feel like we are more than that. And I think, and maybe to tie it all back to what we were talking about before, is like our opinions all of a sudden mean something. Whereas one single person, our opinion means very little, but as a collective unit, it means, because then you get like a whole yard full of grass, and it actually has some sort of, there's something to it. There's some substance, there's meaning, there's a beauty to look at whenever a lot of people come together, and whether their opinions may be different or the same or whatever, as long as they're together and they're not fucking trying to kill each other. I don't know.
I just remembered that I did this last night, but was at Fire Sky waiting to clock in. Did a few things. Actually worked out a little bit. Felt really good. Went outside, cold air blowing. I just and this is one thing I've always done, like sober or not, just like lean my head back all the way to where like the last thing I could see is the sky, and it's just like your whole field of vision is taken up by the stars, and I don't know. I think that the more we do that, like you said, we get so caught up in who we are, and we start to like get our life back once we're in recovery for a long time, and we get these accomplishments like starting a company, developing characteristics about ourselves, taking guys through the steps, and all those things feed into our ego. And really like the more that we do things like this and talk about God and humble ourselves and realize how like insignificant all our plans are, and realize that like it could all be taken away tomorrow, and all we really have is right now. I'm like, I don't know. I just, it's weird that I did that last night because I haven't done that forever. I haven't done that since I've started working out there, and it's like perfect distance away from town, and there's like very little light pollution. You can see the stars pretty good, and I don't know. I'm gonna start doing that more often because it's like you said, the hustle and bustle. We forget where we came from. We forget like how little we truly matter in the universe. I mean, we matter, but we don't.
Yeah. Like I said, were you gonna say something?
All I was thinking was I'm ready for this weekend to do that.
Yeah.
Out in the mountains.
Yeah.
Man, dude, that deep.
I'm gonna take the Ranger out and go do that.
Do it, man.
Yeah. Because I think we do. So, like what I was trying to say, and you kind of touched on it again, is that like individually, we have there's some validity to us, right? But it's just like a word in the book, right? That one word alone has a million different meanings. You can have any word, right? That, like the word open. I just saw the word open somewhere. Like that can mean a couple different things but it doesn't mean shit until you put it in a sentence with a bunch of other words, and then it's in a paragraph, and then it's in a chapter, and then it's in a book. And all of a sudden that one word actually means something. It has a spot. It has a reason to be there. There's a function for it. And then it becomes very valid in the grand scheme of things, right? But I think just the same, that's how I'm just really kind of coming up with this now, but I guess it's how I've always felt with the way people are. And it's why I've never really understood this whole division of everything, is that without every single person in this city, in this state, in this world, whatever, it isn't what it is now. You know what I mean? Every time we lose somebody, everything changes a little bit. Every time we get somebody else, it changes a little bit. And all of a sudden it has a different meaning. There's a different structure. There's a different community. But one person alone has very little meaning if there's not other people around them. Does that make sense? And like there's, like you were talking about with the energy, we're so insignificant as a human being alone. I can't do anything by myself. You know what I mean? I can't. What am I going to do?
Jerk off.
Jerk off. Whatever. Like stupid shit like that. Like that it affects nobody positively. Well, no, it doesn't affect anybody positively.
I was gonna say, where are you going with that, dude?
But yeah, he fucked his up. But what?
I didn't even do it.
Even the three of us getting together now and having this silly conversation, that means something. That affects change in some way, right? But then whenever you get a whole group of addicts and alcoholics together and you form something like this book, then all of a sudden you change hundreds of thousands of lives.
Shit, millions at this point.
Millions at this point. It's worldwide. And it all happened from a couple people getting together and starting something, right? And then a couple more and a couple more and a couple more. And that's the very first person, sure, in this scenario is pretty significant. But if it wasn't for the 15 other people behind him, to keep going, and then the 15 others behind them to keep going, and so on and so forth. Just like they say, AA, if AA stopped with the first group, it would be dead. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't carry it on, it'll die. Mm-hmm. It's like that with everything, with kindness, with humility, with conversation, with whatever it may be. Language. What are you going to do if you don't teach your child how to speak? They're going to lose it. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the next generation will lose it, and the next generation, and so on and so forth. And then before you know it, nobody knows how to speak English. He's struggling with his mic.
Yeah. Should we pause and fix
I'm
it?
afraid to break
Yeah.
it. Fucking.
So we're still trying to figure out all the kinks, you know, all the equipment. It's kind of a lot. So
Dan is the only one with any experience. Parker over here finger fucking everything.
Hey, leave me alone, dude.
Especially Parker. He unscrewed his thing all the way. And now okay. Are you good? What? Okay.
Wait, patience.
Rendering of me as a goblin shitting on him.
I think that'd be great.
I think
That wouldn't be cool at all.
I think that's what we need to do. Or just let me shit on you.
What?
We don't have to pay anybody to do anything.
So when I first moved here a long time ago, I heard this rumor that there was a guy that would go to like the clubs, like Luxor and stuff, and he would find people that he was attracted to. And he would offer you, I think it was $100 to go back to his place and hover over a glass table and shit onto the glass table while he laid underneath it.
Bro, if that's all you got to do, I'm in.
Probably.
I'm in.
I'll probably do it too. Sorry.
$100 is $100, dog.
Yeah. I ain't gay, but $20 is $20, dog.
I mean, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, man.
It's not a bad. Somebody's in.
I wish you would have put us onto this mic chair.
Mic chair.
Mine's a little wobbly.
I'm scared to move because
we were in deep conversation about spiritual awakenings and being very small organisms, and then our mic started to fall off of the table.
Yeah, it kind of fucked up our flow state.
But that's okay. I did want to talk a little bit, and that kind of makes sense because now everybody's just mad at everybody. Not even politically or just like whatever, but even just I've had to deal with ADT security system for the last couple of days, and it seems like everybody with that company, lots of people at school, some people at work, lots of different places that I go, and maybe me too.
That's what I was about to say. You need to look in yourself.
I think a lot of it is me too, but it's not all just me. I see it too, kind of in the peripherals. Like there's just so much, like so many people are just burnt out right now, right? With all this shit going on, and how there's no like. Today was the first time I was around a significant amount of people in months, and it was how many people you think were there, Daniel?
Sorry.
Doing the carving?
Listen to me.
I'm listening. I don't know. There was probably about 12 of us.
Yeah,
we were carving pumpkins today for our student organization, and it was the first time most of us had been around that many people, at least that many of our friends.
In one spot.
Since the semester started, last semester probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been around a lot of people because I've played a couple gigs, but
but you don't know all those people.
That's true. Yeah. I haven't been around that many homies like that in a while.
Yeah, because I went to one of your shows. I went to the Garden, and there was like maybe 5 people that I knew there, and there was probably like 50 people in the place, but I only knew maybe 1% of them. Right? I don't know if that math is right, but anyways, going in and having that many people around, like I was excited, and I mean I don't even know all of those people. I'm aware of who they are. I've had conversations with a lot of them, but they're not people like I like hang out with, right? But it didn't matter. Just knowing them and having like some sort of friendship and connection with them, oh my god, it just like recharged my batteries. But before that, I'm getting tired of him all the time. but and no, all jokes aside,
he was about to say no jokes aside.
All jokes aside,
Real.
How like are y'all seeing this too, or is this just something that I'm seeing, like where everybody's kind of getting burnt out?
I think we're all burnt out, especially all of us in college.
Yeah.
I mean, like this week, I literally have 3 tests on Thursday. Like, I have technically 4 this week, but I've already taken 1, and I'm working 2 jobs, and it's a fucking rough time right now. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, but even and to kind of tie it into what we were talking about before, like the whole like insignificance of one another and how we need each other, right? This disconnection that we have because all this is, I think, at least for me, is what's causing a lot of the conflict within myself too. I think, like, I'm having a hard time because I am so isolated to just the very few people that I'm around and myself, and all of a sudden I feel like, oh well, you know, there's nobody else to really worry about. There's not these large groups of people. All of a sudden I become kind of selfish and I become egotistical and I start to think that my opinion actually means something because of all those different things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Did you get super glue on the table?
Yeah, I got super glue on the table from where I glued, but it's still, I don't know why it's wet. It's really weird. It was like an hour ago. But I mean, what do you all see in this stuff? Like, what I know that, like, who wants to talk about the freaking pandemic more? But the reality is, it's happening, and it's
one of the things I was going to say is I get what you're saying. Like, I can even see it in our clients. I see it even at the beginning when all this started. When I was still on Market Street, I could see it not only in the customers coming in, but I could also see it in staff.
just people being less patient, or what?
Yeah, people just aren't patient. Everybody like lost like their sense of caring or friendship or friendliness, and everybody just became a dick. Like, when we wouldn't have potatoes, it was the end of the world, and it was my fucking fault. And it's like, I fucking got the potatoes and pissed on them before I brought them in the store so nobody could use them. Like,
What did you?
no, I took care of my produce. But it just seems like I know, like you were saying, talking to ADP, just like people are just not themselves. People are just, it's just this disconnect, and then people are starting to come back together, and it's just, oh my God.
Let's lean forward. So with ADT thing, the ADT. Okay, we're trying to move, right? Oops. Whatever. We're moving.
It's coming out later.
Yeah, it's coming out. Yeah, we're moving.
Oops.
This will happen. This will come out after the closing date, I hope. Yeah, we got like 8 days, right?
Yeah, we're good.
So we're moving one of the houses. We're getting a bigger space. We're getting, and this is a fucking horrible anticlimactic announcement. Whatever. We're getting a new space. It's bigger. It's a little bit nicer. It's more centrally located. Blah blah blah. Well, we're moving the security system, and I've never had so many freaking nightmares in my life. I mean, the movers have been great. They've been like, oh yeah, we'll be there at 9 a.m. You know, a few hours, we'll have you done. Boom, boom, boom. Everything else is great. The contractor got the HVAC system fixed, blah, blah, blah. The deal worked out. We got the new roof put on it. All these things have just been going so great. But then I start calling ADT, and I was like, hey, I need to move. What is it going to take for me to move a security system? Thinking that's pretty normal. That's a pretty normal request because lots of people move every day, and that's not an easy request. And I've never in my life argued with a customer service representative on the phone and like it actually become a heated argument. Usually they're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, you know, whatever. We need to chill out, or like I'll hang up or they'll hang up or whatever. But these people argued with me about a contract that I didn't want to sign another 3-year contract. We've already been in one for 8 months, signed a 2-year, blah, 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 all that stuff where you don't want, of course, I'm afraid of commitment. But I don't want to do more. I don't want to get into more of a contract, more of a commitment. And I've never in my life argued with somebody. And I really don't think that would have happened, you know, a year ago. I think there would have been a lot more patience on both sides of it and a lot more understanding on both sides of it, where the person may have been more likely to do a little bit extra work to try and get into something, and I'd probably be more likely to settle for something different than I wanted, right? But there's just so much tension all the time in my life, and I think a lot of other people's lives. They wear a stupid mask all the time. They've got to, you know, they can only be so many people in a space at a time. There's all these horrible memes. You're on Zoom all the time, and I cannot stand that stuff.
Well, the solution I found for myself with dealing with this is just acceptance.
Yeah.
That this is how the world is.
Yeah.
This is how the world is going to be for
forever
who
at this
knows
point.
Fucking how long. So for me, it's been just easier. And of course, we're still going to run into people like ADT that customer rep hasn't accepted this. They're still fucking fighting it every day. They're still fucking fighting working from home or whatever's going on. For me, I've accepted that I have to wear a fucking mask.
Yeah.
And I've accepted that, school, we're going to be on Zoom. Like, I've just accepted these things, so it's become easier for me. But I know for a fact there's going to be so many people that will never come to that acceptance that they're going to continue to fight it over and over and over again. I don't want to wear a mask, but it's probably safest for me to do so. It's going to get me... I'm not going to get in a confrontation with the guy at the Nike outlet store if I just wear a fucking mask. I'm not going to fight it because this is how the world's becoming. This is what it is, and this is what it's going to be.
I think the bigger things are easier for me to accept like that, what you're talking about. I think what I struggle with, because I've accepted that. Like, I accepted that really early on because everybody was talking, when it first started happening, everybody was like, oh, well, we'll just wait until we get a vaccine. Well, I had understood that, first of all, it takes months, if not years, to develop a vaccine, but then you've got the distribution of that. So I knew that it was not going to be within the first 365 days.
Right.
I had already conceded to that fact when this first started. So I kind of had that acceptance of the overall situation, kind of understood. But what I struggle with now is the real minor things, and they all become very big things really, really quick. Like when for some reason my laptop, the mic does not hook up to the Zoom every single time, so you got to go in and out of it a bunch of times until the mic starts working. And that, as soon as that happens, it changes my day. You know what I mean? And it's so minor, it's so inconvenient, it's so small, but I don't know why that affects me in a big enough way that I remember it right now. That's like, I can recall that instance of a small stupid thing happening. I don't know how to, maybe you guys can have some fucking feedback from me because I don't know how to combat that. I don't know how to accept that.
So I've talked to my sponsees and I've talked to other people about this. I don't know how I do this, but it's very easy. I don't know of anything that like I do to accept things. I've just gotten to the place to where like, and I know, like, my sponsees are tired of hearing it.
You're the magician.
I just say it is what it is.
It is what it
is.
And I really, like, my high school running back used to say it all. Shout out Herschel. He used to say it all the time in high school, and it pissed me the fuck off. And then now I'm just, dude, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I can say that about big stuff. I struggle with the little stuff. And that's so stupid.
Right?
Yeah.
I think you would think it would be the other way around. Should
be.
I think it's those
it's like,
little
I failed
things
another class? Okay.
But I think what it is like you take that kind of shit for granted that is supposed to work.
Maybe.
This is supposed to work. I pay all this money for this. This is not something that I should be able to fix. If something goes wrong with your fucking door, you're going to fix that. If something goes wrong with your mic, you don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, because
I think it's like
invisible. Right.
And this needs to be working at all times.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is, I know that what I wanted to talk about was that it's just gotten so, like, because I talked to somebody else earlier today that, like, with stuff with people at school, staff members, blah, 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 like some places that we know about, it's just like kind of imploding a little bit during this time. And I think it's happening a lot more places than we're aware of, but it's just so many different things that are happening and they're heavy on people and they're minor things. And of course, not everybody, and I've talked about this before, everybody that's in recovery gets an opportunity to learn those skills that you're talking about. But the vast majority of the rest of the world does not get to go through the things that we got to go through. And so while I can accept the big things and I have trouble letting go of the small things, could you imagine if I still hung on to the big things too? You know what I mean?
Probably wouldn't be sober.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of people that still hang on to this shit. Like, and you just see kind of throughout the day, the person that's checking you out at Walmart, the guy that's having to fucking tell you to put the mask on at the door. You know what I mean? Like, all those people don't get the opportunity to go through what we go through to practice acceptance every day. And so, what's going to happen? What's happening to us right now? What's happening to this world?
I think, I mean, maybe this is really broad and a really maybe too deep of an answer or an idea, but I think for our society in this country and a lot of the world, the westernized world, we are getting more and more and more disconnected from each other, and it's getting worse now. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what is the worst thing we can do for a person? Put them in solitary confinement in prison where they're all alone and they don't have people and they don't have someone to talk to and they don't have somebody to touch and hug and feel. And it kind of ties back into what we talked about before the little break there, but we're not meant to be alone. Mm-hmm. You know, I think there's a scripture that says it's not good for man to be alone. And I think there's a lot of different ways you could look at this. Like, we could look at our food, how our food is so removed from how it's supposed to be naturally, and we have all these health problems. And then we look at our spirituality, and I'm not even just trying to be religious, but I'm just saying just the basics of spirituality, interconnectedness, like a deeper purpose in life. And then look at our like financial systems and like how we trade minutes and hours and weeks and days and years of our lives for a little bit of coin just to buy stuff and to feel the void, to buy that
shitty food,
to buy the shitty food that makes us feel worse. And it's like we're further and further disconnected from who we are spiritually, from who we are as animals, and from the earth itself. I mean, you know, the things that corporations and other countries are doing to the planet, like we are getting further and further away from what is natural and normal and meant for us, you know. And I don't mean to like be like, yeah, let's go move into the forest and you know, fucking suck our own farts.
Whoa,
you know?
That's not natural.
I think that's like.
And not that I'm any good at it either.
Well, I was going to ask for the solution in this because it's true. You're right. I think you're probably pointing out some things that I haven't really thought of. I've thought about like the food thing where we're so far disconnected from natural foods. Talked about that today in one of my classes. Is the only reason it's even on my mind. But I mean, you're right. Like trading time for money to buy stupid shit, to buy the shitty food, to further disconnect ourselves more. The phones, and this. There's a conflict that I have with this too because one of my classes is asking me to read an article about the internet and how it is as a whole, and like whether or not it produces like something to stimulate the mind, and because it's participatory, you have to participate in the internet to be on the internet. You don't just sit back and watch it like you do a TV show or listen to a podcast or whatever it is. You don't just sit back and consume it. You have to participate in some way, in most ways, right, on the internet. So it's encouraging you to participate or to interact with one another, but it's not always in the most healthy manner these days with all of that. But what is the solution to all of these things? To the lack of connectedness, the lack of health with the food, the disconnect, all the things that you just named. Do we have a solution right now?
I mean, the first thing I can think of is get more connected to God, to nature, to each other. Mm-hmm. I mean, and yeah, in this moment with a global pandemic going on, that's not really feasible or doable. But I mean, as far as maybe like, you know, getting connected to each other in a physical sense, but like, you know, maybe we can all do better to check up on somebody we haven't checked up on. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can take more time to meditate or pray or dig into some, you know, philosophy or religious text. I don't know, or spend time in nature, which a lot of people are doing more now.
Yeah, forced to.
Yeah, you can go out in nature, but
I think, you know, that's my solution. That's what I was thinking the whole time you were talking, was like, we have to be right spiritually. Because if we're not right spiritually, we're not going to handle any of this well.
The rest of the shit doesn't matter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have to be right spiritually to handle anything in a positive manner. And if we're not right spiritually, then we're not going to be right to our neighbor. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be right to ourselves. You know, we're just going to fall deeper into the hole.
So what does that mean?
What do you mean?
Like, what would you say?
Marcus is all, what is spiritually fit?
Yeah, tell me, how do you do this?
What are
I'm asking
the steps?
I'm asking for a friend.
What is God?
I mean, really though, like, because to those of us in recovery, I mean, I guess it seems pretty like standard. Like, read the fucking book, do the steps, practice spirituality, practice gratitude, and get those promises, right? But what is it like? Even what would you say, like, just to anybody or even me that's even struggling with this right now, with the spirituality component? Because, like, yeah, part of it's me trying to get information from you guys for myself, but also, like, that's what this is about, is like to have an open dialogue about.
I mean, and that's like the hardest thing, because everybody's connection is different. Everybody gets connected differently. Your God is different. My God is different. Some people's God is nature. For me, mine is very open to, I was raised Catholic, so that's a little bit of my belief. I feel connected with nature, so that's a little bit of my belief. I went and did a meditation at this Buddhist place for a class, and I fell in love with that. For me, what it was trying all those different things. It was having an open mind. One was just truly getting down on my knees and praying. I didn't know who I was praying to or what I was praying to. I just decided I have to try to connect to something that is not me, that is not Marcus, that is not Dan. And the more I did that, the more things started happening for me, the more at peace I was with myself, the more at peace and tolerant I was of others. So still to this day, like, I don't have directions on how to get somebody else spiritually fed. I still struggle. I still grow in my spirituality. All I can do is continue to keep an open mind and look for new ways to connect. Because what worked for me in 30 days sober, what worked for me the night that I decided to quit drinking, I prayed and I asked God to show me a sign. If I pray and ask for God to show me a sign today, it's not going to happen in 3 minutes like it did that night. Yeah. So now I have to look for other ways to feel that kind of connection, to I want to say, like, hold myself over until I get an answer, but I have to find different ways to feel that ease and comfort. But I'm not going to do it in a negative way. I have to learn a new spirituality, whether it's meditation, whether it's going to the mountains in New Mexico for 4 days and driving out on the Ranger and doing what y'all are talking about, look at the stars for 30 minutes. It's just hard to tell somebody how to be spiritual.
Yeah. Here's an easy one for anybody listening who's not in recovery, or if you're not through the steps yet, or if you're anybody. Here's a real easy one that we can all do. We could all be better at. We all don't do enough. It's just go help somebody. Get outside of yourself. Service. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to go. Rescue a homeless person to move them in with you. I don't know if that would be a great idea.
I mean, I guess you could.
But you could. But fucking go knock on your neighbor's door and ask if you could take their trash out if they're a little old lady or something. I think God constantly, or the universe, however you perceive it, constantly gives us opportunities to be of service. And a lot of times we, disregard it, or we justify our own busy lives. And so we justify our selfishness with our own busy lives and our own whatever. Bullshit. But the easiest thing you could do is go help somebody, and we could all be better at it.
Yeah, I think.
Honestly, I think that's
it.
The biggest one.
That's got it.
That's like your first step in, like, trying to find that spirituality. Yeah. I think is getting out of self. Getting
outside of yourself. Yeah, I know that what's worked for me in the past and what I'm having to force myself to do now, whenever I'm kind of in like a spiritual, I wouldn't say like low point, but I am taking this last few months pretty hard, and there's a lot of stress and all that stuff, right? But what I do get to look at the end of the day is is how grateful I am for everything. And just like we talked about earlier, instead of focusing on the big things, I try to focus on the very small things. Cause like of course I'm grateful for my friends and my family and the company and school and all these big things, right? I owe those things the gratitude that they deserve every single day. But what I sometimes forget about and miss are the minor things, like like you talked about, the service, taking out somebody's trash, right? Or somebody took out my trash one day, and I was so fucking grateful because I don't like walking back there. It's really gross back there, so I don't like doing that. But I was like that alone, like it seems silly, but it really was like so fucking cool that somebody did that. Being able to be a part of anything, being able to be a part of anybody's like life, or making somebody laugh that you didn't really expect to make them laugh, or like something very small. I try to think about those at the end of the day, and I used to write it down, and now it works just to kind of think about it and kind of think back on it now. But I think Dr. Brene Brown talked about it, like gratitude is directly correlated to, joy is directly correlated to gratitude. Mm-hmm. Those people that show gratitude and are thankful for those type of things actually experience joy. And it all comes down to the little things for me. That's what's gotten me through all this. Even though I get upset about the little shit that goes bad and I lose it on those things, I guess I need to start probably being grateful for those things, because at least I have a fucking computer. Yeah. You know what I mean? At least I have a Zoom meeting to be on where I'm needed or appreciated. My presence is appreciated. Like those are the things I lose sight of, right? But I just get so frustrated. Oh, they can't hear me. They can't hear my opinion. They can't hear what I have to say. You know what I mean? But in reality, I'm just lucky to fucking be there. Right. You know what I mean? Because I'm not very smart, and I have all those different things. You know what I mean?
You know what I said to a client the other night? He said, he was talking about somebody's about to leave. He's like, I guess I'm going to be the oldest fucker in here. And I said, hey, man, I'd rather be the oldest guy in rehab than be the youngest guy in the morgue. And I was like, hey, that's pretty smart. I said that.
Damn. Did you write that down?
I just said it on a podcast. So.
He has it in his profound statements notebook that he carries around with him.
And it has one line in it. I said one the other day to one of our guys over at the Cove that we're talking about like how far somebody can go, and how far you can rise up out of something, and how far you can go once you've done that, and once you've put in the effort, once you've put in the work, and you've like had the spiritual experiences, and you do the maintenance to get you through every single day. That like, because I don't see a limitation anymore. Like I used to see like, oh, I can only go this far because I am this type of person, or I can only make it this far in life because I'm this type of person. Like I'm never going to be a Jeff Bezos. I'm never going to be a Joe Rogan. I'm never going to be one of these, profound human beings because of X, Y, and Z. Well, now that I've been full of this gratitude and full of this like program that has given me the option to do things that I've never done before and to go further than I've ever gone, I don't see the limitations anymore. The limitations that I set on myself are the ones that I'm willing to put up on myself, that I put on myself, right? The willingness I have to work, the willingness I have to invest in my own recovery and my program, and the willingness I have to like really, really put in the effort every single day. So, and it's written on my mirror, so it's not written on a book. It's written on my fucking mirror. First it says, don't be a bitch today, because I like to be...
That's very hard for you to do.
I like to be very whiny and emotional most days. So I just have to put that on there and remind myself that I'm not going to be that today, right? But then right below that it says, your limitations begin where your desire ends. And so... it's like when I think about it that way, I think about like a column of water, right? And the limitations don't start until my desire ends, right? It's between like oil and water. Like oil floats on top of water, right? So the water is my desire, and the oil all the way at the top is my limitations. And the level of where I'm going to be is determined by how much desire I have and how much effort and work I put into it. Right. And that's where the ceiling gets put. That's where the limit begins. And I think that all kind of comes back to like, if I want to be spiritually fit, if I want to have a good life and to not have to be worried about all these minor bullshit, then I actually have to do what he's saying and like be spiritually fit. I have to put forth the fucking effort to go do something. And I haven't been doing that lately. And that's probably why I feel the way that I do. I think it's fair to say that anyway. What?
I'm not taking anybody else's inventory. I'm gonna sit here.
No, go ahead. Let me hear it.
Well, we're over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts or anything? We talked about a lot.
Yeah. Kind of bounced around a lot.
Yeah, I think there's
I'll
some
be
good
engaged the next time we meet.
stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure, and we'll dig in a little more maybe to relationships.
If she
next
says
time.
yes.
If she says yes. So he'll have at least attempted to be engaged by this time, next time you hear this, or next time we meet, however this works. I don't understand time. But potentially, time is hard.
Time and words are
words are
very
hard.
difficult for Marcus today.
Spirituality is hard. Life is hard. But your limitations begin where your desire ends. What did you say? What was yours?
I'd rather be the oldest guy at rehab than the youngest guy at the morgue.
Ooh. Where's yours?
It is what it is.
Oh, fuck.
It
It is what it
All
is.
right, with that, this is over.
Bye, friends.
Thank you.